Hollywood Park was never just a racetrack, it was an experience. A cultural landmark nestled in Inglewood, California, where the thundering hooves of champion racehorses mingled with the flashbulbs of paparazzi, where movie stars in fedoras and silk gowns placed bets and cheered like regular folks, where generations of horse racing fans gathered to witness not just sport, but history. Built by Hollywood for Hollywood, it was a place where fantasy met the finish line. For 75 years, Hollywood Park stood as a playground for the rich and famous and a proving ground for some of the greatest thoroughbreds the sport has ever seen. From its grand opening in 1938 to its bittersweet final race in 2013, the story of Hollywood Park mirrors the story of Los Angeles itself. Glitzy, ambitious, constantly reinventing. But while its grandstand may be gone, Hollywood Park didn't vanish. It evolved. And in its place now stands a monument to modern entertainment SoFi Stadium and the Hollywood Park District, proving that even when the racing ends, the show must go on. This is the story of Hollywood Park, its rise, its fall, and its remarkable afterlife. It all began in 1938, during the golden age of Hollywood. On the 10th of June, the Hollywood Turf Club opened the gates to its brand new racetrack in Inglewood, California. But this wasn't your average racetrack. Its founding board included some of the most powerful names in the entertainment industry. Jack Warner of Warner Brothers, Walt Disney, Bing Crosby, Samuel Goldwyn, and Al Jolson. The men who shaped cinema were now shaping thoroughbred racing. They wanted more than a place to bet on horses. They envisioned a racing palace with lush gardens, sparkling lakes, and grandstands filled not just with bettors, but with stars. Hollywood Park quickly earned the nickname the Track of Lakes and Flowers. On opening day, more than 40,000 people came to see what Hollywood racing had to offer. It wasn't long before Hollywood's elite treated it as an extension of the studio lot. You could spot Clark Gable, Joan Crawford, or Barbara Stanwyck cheering from the stands, cocktail in hand, soaking in the California sun. But glamour didn't make the horses run faster. That job belonged to the track, and the racing was just as impressive as the guest list. Like so many other American institutions, Hollywood Park found itself at a crossroads during World War II. In 1942, the track suspended racing and was handed over to the federal government. For the next 2 years, it served as a storage depot for North American Aviation, which was building aircraft for the war effort. But the track didn't vanish from public life entirely. In 1944, Hollywood Park hosted a special 20-day meet with all proceeds going to war relief charities. Over $1 million was raised, an astonishing amount at the time. Even in wartime, Hollywood Park remained a symbol of resilience and civic pride. It was a racetrack, yes, but it was also part of the community. With the war over, racing returned, and so did the stars. But tragedy struck in 1949 when a devastating fire ripped through the grandstand, leveling much of the facility. Many assumed the track was finished. They were wrong. The very next year, a new grandstand rose from the ashes. More glamorous and modern than before, the track wasn't just rebuilt, it was reimagined. In 1951, racing history was made when the great Citation won the Hollywood Gold Cup and became the first horse in history to earn over $1 million. That moment solidified Hollywood Park's reputation as a world-class venue for championship racing. The 1950s became Hollywood Park's golden era. Horses like Swaps, Noor, and Roundtable thrilled the crowds. The biggest names in Hollywood continued to show up, and now so did everyday Californians. Racing had become mainstream, and Hollywood Park was the beating heart of it all. The 1960s and 70s were years of change for the nation and the track. As television transformed entertainment, racetracks had to innovate to stay relevant. Hollywood Park led the way. It introduced rolling pick threes, the superfecta, the pick four, and the player's pick five. These were bets that added complexity and excitement. The infield tote board lit up like Times Square, and helicopters ferried celebrities directly to the infield for big race days. Racing remained elite, but it was becoming accessible. In 1984, Hollywood Park hosted the very first Breeders' Cup horse racing's answer to the Super Bowl. It was a triumph. 7 races, millions in purses, a national television audience. For one day, the eyes of the sports world turned squarely to Inglewood. Hollywood Park wasn't just surviving, it was reinventing itself.
Wild again, desperately holding on to the lead. Slew of Gold is right there in between horses. Gate Dancer on the outside. What a finish. Wild again, Gate Dancer, Slew of Gold in between them. Those 3 in a dramatic finish. And here's the wire. Wild again does it. I believe it was Wild again, an upset winner.
But even legends can lose momentum. By the late 80s and early 90s, competition from other forms of entertainment, casinos, sports, even home video, began to eat into the racing audience. The crowds shrank, the purses dropped, the grandstand felt a little less full. In 1991, businessman R.D. Hubbard took control. He poured $20 million into upgrades and improvements. He also opened the Hollywood Park Casino adjacent to the track in 1994, trying to bring in a new crowd and new revenue. It worked briefly, but the writing was on the wall. By 1999, Churchill Downs Incorporated, the company behind the Kentucky Derby, purchased Hollywood Park for $140 million. Many hoped this would usher in a new renaissance. Unfortunately, it didn't. In the 2000s, the decline continued. Racing dates were cut, high-profile races were dropped, and in 2005, Churchill Downs sold the property to a real estate development firm for $260 million. The casino stayed, but the track's days were numbered. In 2012, a naming rights deal with Betfair brought a new name, Betfair Hollywood Park, but it couldn't reverse the trend. In May 2013, the announcement came. Racing would end that December. On the 22nd of December, 2013, the final race was run. Fans, jockeys, trainers, and longtime employees gathered for one last hurrah. Tears flowed. Cheers rang out. For 75 years, Hollywood Park had been a part of their lives. And now it was gone.
A final 1/8 of a mile. 75 years down to 12 seconds. Depreciable is the leader. He's a length and a half in front of Dan Derrick. Woodman's Luck in the center of the racetrack. Depreciable reaches. Woodman's Luck trying to gun him down. Depreciable. Woodman's Luck. Depreciable and Woodman's Luck. A photo finish in the final race. It comes down to a camera close-up. 75 great years at Hollywood Park. That's a wrap.
Demolition began in 2014. The grandstand came down, the barns were cleared, and from the dust rose something entirely new. Today, Hollywood Park is a 298-acre mega development. At its center is SoFi Stadium, home of the Los Angeles Rams and Chargers, host of the Super Bowl, the College Football Playoff, and the 2028 Olympics. There's also the YouTube Theater, high-end housing, offices, parks, and a reimagined Hollywood Park Casino. The horses are gone, but the crowds remain. What once echoed with the thunder of hooves now hums with the beat of concerts, football games, and community events. It's a transformation no one could have imagined in 1938, and yet somehow it still carries the name Hollywood Park. Because history doesn't always end. Sometimes it evolves. Hollywood Park was many things: a racetrack, a movie set, a social hub, a battleground for champions, a second home for dreamers. Its final race may be over, but its legacy continues in every roaring crowd, every dazzling spotlight, and every new dream built on old ground. Thank you for joining us on this ride. If you enjoyed this look back at Hollywood Park, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the lost racetracks that shaped our past. We'll see you at the next gate.